welcome back to Liquid Lunch. We are here with Javed Khan, the founder and president of EMpression, a marketing service company, right, Javed?
That's right, sir.
And you do a lot of other stuff too, but let's talk about EMpression first of all. It's a marketing service company, but what does that mean exactly?
For us here, that means, and Stella, that means we offer marketing services. So in my previous lives in corporate Canada, as they say, I was always in a marketing services department, and that included everything from graphic designers to copywriters to videographers to editors to people who placed media ads. So I figured, I'm going to kind of do that type of model because it's very action-oriented. Mm-hmm. Marketing services for me comes across as if we're action. We're going to actually do something for you. We're going to plan it. We're also going to do it. So marketing services entails all that. We have designers, videographers, we have website developers and designers, we do studio work, we get you into the media, we do any type of community or public relations.
So it sounds like...
kind of like what you do.
Well, Stella, I won't say that, but but I mean, we were kind of talking just before we came on the air, and you mentioned you make people and companies come across like rock stars.
Yeah, our whole objective is to make you and Stella look and feel like rock stars. That's what we want.
I feel like a rock star already.
Absolutely.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't feel that much like a rock star.
Want to bet?
Pan up, pan up.
Okay. I feel like a rock star.
Okay. Well, Javed, so like who are your clients? Are they individual entrepreneurs?
Yes.
Are they small, medium companies?
You know what? They range from financial services companies to accountants, lawyers. We've got associations.
Lawyers? How do you make a lawyer like a rock star?
Well, everything's community-based, right? So people want to know, how do I get out into my specific community and really differentiate myself from perhaps the other accountant that's down the road? Mm-hmm. Like what can I do that will be forward-thinking and outside of the box that people just don't consider accountants doing? So social media marketing would be one. So how do we do that effectively? And one in a way that's going to make them really integrate within the community. So when someone in that community is thinking of an accountant or is going to refer an accountant, they think of Hugh the accountant, because you know what? I see Hugh all the time online. I see him on video. He's always on YouTube. I see he's got a Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. So
yeah, I'm on that.
Yeah.
That, I mean, Javed, the whole social media thing is that's relatively new. I mean, it wasn't that many years ago when companies didn't even think about, or it didn't exist, right? That whole area of social media, and it seems to be a bit of a moving target because there's new social media that come online all the time, and people have to adjust their strategies.
Right.
Now, how do you stay on top of all that?
Well, the first message we always say to anyone that we deal with, and one of the things I do is I do keynote speak, so I'm doing one next week to a bunch of accountants. So the first thing we always say to people is, first of all, there's the social media beast. Mm-hmm. You don't necessarily have to participate in it if you don't need to. So you don't necessarily have to get a Facebook account if you are a doctor. You don't need to have a Facebook account, but you do have to realize that people are online in some way, shape, or form in terms of media. That could be LinkedIn. Your three common ones are LinkedIn, your Twitter, and your Facebook. So what we do is we sit down with the individual or the organization. We plan out, we strategize and plan out, where do you want to be a year from now from a social media standpoint? Because there's a lot to learn, and there's a lot of administrative work. Social media is really effective if you're on it on a consistent basis. So now there's platforms. Hootsuite is one where you can go on Hootsuite. You can Hootsuite. You can go on to Hootsuite, and you can schedule your social media announcements on a Sunday afternoon. So on a Sunday afternoon, you could schedule your messages for LinkedIn and say that on Monday at 9:15 a.m. this message is going to go out. Then on Wednesday at 9:45 a.m. this message is going to go out, all on LinkedIn. Then you can go to your Facebook account. You can say on Facebook. So now you got like a whole scheduler whereby it'll do it automatically. The key, though, is you got to plan that. You got to give yourself 6 to 8 hours, sit down in a disciplined fashion to do that. If you can't do that on your own because you're not really good at that and you're really good at being a lawyer, then you look at a marketing services company to come in and plan,
like
strategize,
you guys.
and we can execute for
because I mean, that's the first time I've heard of that Hootsuite. I know I've heard of some other ones out there, but there's stuff out there that people don't know is out there.
Right.
But here you come in, and you've got this kind of specialized knowledge, and you've got you work with people that have that specialized knowledge. Because
Yes.
one person can't know it all, so
No,
you've
it's a
got a
team
whole
of us.
team.
Absolutely.
Right?
So our objective really, there's 3 steps, right, is to educate and provide some insight. Because there are many people, because as Hugh, you said, people, there's still the unknown for websites. So we've been to, and unfortunately, we go in and we get calls from companies saying, you got to come in and we understand you can do websites. Sure, and then we look at the other stuff they do. But unfortunately, we look at a website and this individual's paid thousands of dollars for a website. It's because it's the unknown. They think, well, that's just common, right? It's common to spend $10,000, isn't it? So my first question is, well, okay, let's look at your website. What did you get for your $10,000?
Yeah.
And
How many hits do you
how
get?
many you get? And can you do video? And I don't know. It's the unknown. I don't know. So we educate. We provide some insight. So we connect the dots, right? We say, here's what you got to do. Here's your investment up front, and you know what? Give yourself some time. We're not miracle workers. In a month or 2, you're not going to have, all of a sudden media folks emailing and calling you, or you're not going to have thousands of likes on your Facebook. It's going to take some time. It's like wine. You're going to nurture it, right? And the older the wine is, the better it tastes. So
Sometimes.
sometimes. So.
Because it can turn.
It sure can still. Now, Javed, I want to ask you, I mean, I got your information and I'm a little intrigued, maybe not necessarily directly related to your business, but I know you do some work with the Canadian Armed Forces Reserves and with the Air Cadets.
Yes.
And the RCAF. Can you just tell us a little bit about what you do?
Well, my family background is in the military, all Air Force and Army, right? So I went through the Air Cadet program when I was 11 and a half, 12 years old, and went right through the chain.
So you can fly a plane?
I can fly gliders. I went to do my powers. The timing didn't match up.
Right.
But certainly, I could fly an aircraft because like I say to people, I came out of my mother's womb, I had a plane in my hand. My late father was a pilot. Oh, yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
It is impressive. Quite impressive. Very impressive.
You come out with a plane
With a
in your hand.
Yeah, with a model plane.
What was your first model? I got to ask you.
God, my first model was a
Claudia
Lancaster.
Schiffer?
Oh, was it?
Lancaster.
Okay. I think mine was a Spitfire.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, my second one was a Hurricane.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. So I went through the Air Cadet program, and then after I finished the Air Cadets, you hit 19, you kind of quote-unquote retire out. And then I became a reserve officer in the Royal Canadian Air Force, now called Royal Canadian Air Force. So I've been at that for about 23 years now. So I've got my CD and looking to get back in because I took a hiatus when my children were born. So being a commanding officer for a squadron of 100 and some odd cadets, plus you've got all these staff, plus you have, you've got parents and stuff that you got to deal with. It takes it's another full-time job. So.
Do you ever see that Lancaster bomber that flies?
Absolutely.
To and from Toronto, going to air shows, I guess.
Yes,
but you
that's
can
right.
You hear it and you see it.
Yeah, at the Hamilton Airport.
Yeah.
Canadian Warplane Heritage.
So that's great. Now, just getting back to the business stuff. But I mean, I just think that that's really interesting that you do that in your spare time. But
and you escaped the rest of the military family.
Yeah, that's right.
How did you pull that off?
Well, it's top secret.
It's a long story. So,
classified, eh?
Classified.
But I'm also interested in your work as a presenter for Constant Contact. Do you want to talk a little bit about
yes,
that?
I'm what Constant Contact calls a local expert program presenter. So I work closely with Lisa Kember, who's a regional director for Constant Contact, and the objective for Constant Contact, really like any other business, they've been around for years. They're wanting to expand, and they're quite involved in Canada. So now what I do is I go out to either associations, boards of trades, non-for-profits, and we essentially present to them the Constant Contact platform. So there's 3 core presentations we do. One's on social media marketing and who really cares and why is it important. Another one is all about social media marketing and email marketing and how those two integrate. And the third one is really all about the power of email marketing, because one of the things about email marketing is that it's underutilized. People don't necessarily realize, maybe don't realize, that email marketing is powerful if you use it properly. If you inundate people with email every day, absolutely, as the brand folks would say, you're going to dilute your brand, be it a personal brand or corporate brand, if you do it every day. Of course, people then say, well, I don't get any hits, and people are unsubscribing me, and I'm not getting people who are connecting with me. Of course, there is like anything else, there's a dance to it, and you've got to be able to know how to do it properly.
Well, it sounds like email marketing is one of the components of of being a, that you offer as a marketing service company, right? And that Constant Contact is a platform that people can use for their email marketing.
Yes.
And I understand what you're saying about the diluting the brand, right? If you're sending too many emails, but it seems to me that email marketing as a whole is diluting itself a little bit, just because people are so overwhelmed, and more so every day it seems, with emails that they have to wade through to get to the good communication.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
And so, the requested communication sometimes.
Yeah, and that's very important, because there's a bill C-28 that's on the tables right now that is essentially very focused on spam, and it's very focused on engaged, making sure that you have double opt-ins for any future communications. And the idea, I understand, is what they're trying to do is the government is trying to work with the whole telemarketer issue, but they're also realizing that it's also an online issue, that you're getting spammed a lot. So people are claiming a lot of more spam reports than ever. So the government is trying to quell that, and just saying to businesses, look, Stella, if you're going to communicate to this list of 100 people, you best have audit trails that these 100 people have opted in twice to say, yes, I want your communication.
Okay. There was another bill that was passed, and I'm pretty sure it eventually will come here.
Yes.
And it has to do with more surveillance of the internet.
Yes.
How is that going to affect people like you and I who have a Twitter account and Facebook and whatnot? Because they're already all over everywhere.
I think on those...
Our information is never gone.
No, that's number one. People think you type data in and next week it's gone. No, it stays there permanently. It's there for whenever the internet's going to be around. So one of the things we say to people is check your privacy policy every month. So go to your Twitter account, go to your Facebook account, go to your LinkedIn account, go to the privacy policy, make sure that privacy policy is up to date and your settings have not been changed. Facebook is known to do this.
Oh, yes.
They're known to change your privacy policy once in a while, because, hey, it's Tuesday and let's change it tomorrow.
Yeah.
So people don't necessarily check that, and they find out the hard way that certain information has now gone out, or certain photos are now on the net, and they initially said, no, I didn't. A year ago when I signed up for Facebook, I didn't want that. But when you go to the privacy policy setting, you notice, oh, well, actually, it was deselected. It's now there.
So how often should you be doing that?
It's like anything else. I would suggest every month. Every
Really?
month I would suggest, yeah.
Stella, I'm sure they're archiving all your troublemaking tweets.
Yes, I do cause a lot of trouble
and
with
your
tweets.
your anti-global luminoid...
No, anti-Harper. I'm sure, yeah. But have you heard of Clout?
iCloud?
No, Clout.
No, I've
That's
never heard
the
of that.
new, you know how you were saying that LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter are
Yes.
the three?
Yeah.
Well, now there's one that came out of San Francisco called Clout. And they analyze your Clout online.
Oh, wow, really interesting. I'm going to check
Yeah.
that out. Okay.
Clout with a K.
Clout
Yes,
with a K.
Yeah.
Clout.
Huh, interesting.
Well, it just goes to show that this is this whole area of social media is really a moving target.
Yeah.
Right. Now and so there's just so much information out there. It's so hard for somebody whose main purpose is to be an entrepreneur in whatever their business is, or to be a professional in whatever area that they are, to stay on top of all this other stuff, right? Which is why they need to hire someone
That's right.
who is
Well, we
on
can
top
help
of
you.
that
You know, our biggest, one of our differences, and I wouldn't suggest it's unique whatsoever. One of our differences in terms of our process is that, we sit down, we plan, we strategize, we get where you want to be within a year. We only deal with a year plan. So we want to get where do you want to be, and we clearly manage. We try to manage your realistic goals, because again, we're not going to make you a millionaire. We're not going to get you these clients overnight just by putting up a Twitter account. So what we do is when we do all that, and that takes some time, then we'll, as I say to people, visualize us leave the room and then come back with our sleeves now rolled up, sitting down and say, okay, let's get to work. So that's what we do. Then we come back, we roll up our sleeves, and we take that plan and we actually bring it to action. So the first question I always say to people, and this is good that you brought up, Hugh, in terms of social media. That's good, social media, and you want to be in the media, and you want PR, and that's good. But it's now at a stage in our lives where if you don't have a website, people are just shocked. They are now expecting you're going to have
A website.
A website. So the first thing we always say is, well, let's look at your website. You know, there's the apartments being built next door here at our building, and I was looking at how they're building this thing. It's the same analogy I use for a website. Get a strong foundation, your website, get that foundation strong, and then build up. And that could be through collateral material, video. Video is a big thing the last couple of years now. It's really up and coming. It's, you know, very big thing. Figure out your social media strategy and integrate all that with a PR campaign. And with PR, it's not one of these, let me send out information to media. You got to come up with a sexy story. You got to come up with something that the media is going to look at and say, oh, okay, I want to go and talk to these guys because this makes a difference in X community or something. And I always suggest in community, if you're dealing with community papers, unfortunately with community papers, you know, everything's tied to advertising. You know, they'd be happy to do a profile on Hugh and Stella, but you got to buy a $3,000 or $2,000 ad in the community paper. So I try to shy away from traditional media as much as I can. I really do.
Yeah. How quickly can you analyze 3 basic things that stand out about a company, let's say, or let's say you and I? What 3 things stand out in your mind about us and how?
I can think of 2, Stella. I can think of 2, but I'm having trouble with number 3.
I think, you know, how quickly? Probably within a couple hours, and that's usually what we tend to do. We sit down for a couple hours, we ask a bunch of questions, and we really want to get your story. And what I'm trying to draw out, Stella, is I'm trying to draw out your personality, not necessarily maybe as an individual, but maybe as a company. What's your personality as a company? Because that's what's missing, right? Well, in your case, what's your personality that you want to draw out that people are going to just be attracted to? Because what is happening?
Attracted already.
Well, absolutely. That's you're just natural, right? But then what we want to do is, okay, let's, in your case, how do we tell the community in Barrie about yourself, or the community out west about yourself, right? So we find out some trigger points that what I would say together, come up with a core message and a story. We're storytellers. We're not features and benefits folks. We're all about stories.
Okay.
And so that's really, you know, within a couple hours, we'd probably be able to walk away saying, okay, I think we got something here. And you know what? Let's really focus on A, B. And that could be the website. Don't worry about television. Don't worry about traditional. Let's do the web, and let's focus on one maybe element of social media for now. And let's build that, and let's see how it goes.
You know, last year, I think I was one of the first people to post this thing on Facebook. And I realized that Facebook is the new Hotel California. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave.
Nope.
They own everything.
No, you're right. And also, you know, with social and online strategies, you could reach hundreds of thousands of people with a push of a button, right? You're not necessarily guaranteed that through traditional advertising anymore.
No,
you're paying thousands of dollars, but I hear this all the time. Oh yeah, Jeff, we spent, you know, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on this ad.
Not a thing.
And they look at their staff and say, I think we maybe got 1 or 2 calls. It's like, wow. Okay. Well, that's traditional.
Terrible.
You know what?
Well, that's just how it's evolved, right?
That's just, it just goes to show you how different things are and how people may need to take a completely different approach and hire or deal with, contract with a company that's got a whole different skill set.
Absolutely.
Like what you guys have. So again, so companies out there that are watching this job, again, who would be the ideal companies that should really consider maybe getting in touch with you?
I think ideally, Hugh, would be small to medium-sized firms. It could be 1, 2, 3. It doesn't matter in terms of the types of employees. It's really those companies, as I think you alluded to at the beginning, they're ones who are saying, look, we're really good at being architects, but we know we need to get out in the community. We just don't know how. And we don't have a marketing department. We can't afford it, not a full-time employee, but we know we need to do it. We just don't know how. So those type of companies. And individuals, same idea. You're a good chiropractor. We just signed up a chiropractor in Newmarket. You're really good. You recognize, and these are the companies that need to recognize that, you know what, we need to get out there. We just don't know how.
And they need to think differently, maybe.
They need to think differently.
Outside the box.
Yeah, outside the box. And the ones that we may not connect well with is the ones, and you know what, all respect to them. They'll say, you know, I can do this. My 17-year-old son has technical skills with websites. We can do that. What else can you do for us? Well, we can do video. Oh, I can do video because, you know, I just bought a video and it's a camera and I can do. Okay, you know, then you come to the realization, I tell you what, you have our contact information. If you need us at all, we'd be more than happy to help
Yeah,
you
there's
out.
tons of amateur videographers.
You get all
right?
that stuff, right? And you got to respect that. Just people.
I know.
And
recognize
it sounds like the first step is just getting in touch, and then you sit down with them, talk about their goals or objectives. You can give them some
Absolutely.
feedback about that and develop a plan, right?
Absolutely. So if there's someone out there who would like to email you, the first one that emails you today, I'll give them 1 hour of my time.
Okay.
Did you hear that, folks? First
1 hour.
person who emails that channel
Right.
today will get a free hour
Okay,
of
Stella.
his time.
They can hit the rewind button. They don't need to hear it twice. Okay.
I wanted to make sure they heard it.
Contact us at ThatChannel.com. That's the email address.
Yeah.
So Javed, great to have you here. Now, if people also want to follow up with your website, what is the website?
Yeah, you can contact us at EMpression, EMpression.ca. And
Perfect.
you can connect us via our phone number, 416-889-6069. And
6069.
69, dude.
6069, yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, Javed, great to meet you. Great to have this conversation.
You're very
Thanks
welcome.
for
Thanks for
coming.
having me.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Let's take a little bit of a break, Stella. Just a little one, because we're going to come back with Craig Nicholson right after this. And finally, we're going to get prepared for what's really going to happen
What's really
here
going
in
to happen?
2012.
Oh.
Well, maybe Craig's going to tell us a little bit, because he's got a whole plan for it.
Okay,
So,
cool.
thank you, Javed.
Great, thank you.
We'll see you soon, and
appreciate
we're
it.
going to come back with Craig right after this.
Okay.
As Liquid Lunch continues. We'll be right back.
So when